When the people don't realize what I didn't realize, is healed is not healed with an ED. If you're looking for an outcome on your journey, you've done it all wrong. It's simply about surrender.
Yeah. Oh my.
Over and over and over again. Because I do the work and I have the audacity every time. Let me tell you, any place that I'm speaking from is never that I'm like, I have done it, I am here, and I have arrived. Bullshit. Sorry, I cuss in the same sentence. Bullshit. I literally do the work. 5 months, I'm like, I'm great. I'm floating. I feel good. I know who I am. I'm there. And then boom, landmine. And I'm like, wait a minute. What happened?
Hey there, Yummy listeners. We've got an important update to share with you just in case life throws you a curveball.
Absolutely, Crystal. Have you or someone you know recently been involved in an auto accident? We believe in safeguarding your well-being and ensuring you receive the care and assistance you require. That's why we recommend connecting with our preferred legal expert, Sandra M. Davis, PC. When unexpected situations arise, she's the one you want in your corner.
With her 30 plus years of experience and a solid track record, Sandra and her dedicated team will fight to get you the compensation, support, and treatment you rightfully deserve.
Head over to attorneysandradavis.com to schedule your free consultation today. Your rights matter, and they're here to make sure they're protected. Now back to this episode.
Welcome to another delightful and delicious episode of Yummy Podcast, where we savor life's inspiring stories as we go on a journey with you towards your ultimate, most meaningful yet. I am your co-host, Crystal Khalil.
And I'm Dr. Nicole LaBeach. And today we have with us producer, entrepreneur, podcast, brilliant one, getting your word and your message out into the world. Mom of a brilliant little boy, cutie pie, might we say. Cutie pie. Jessica Hurley.
Ooh, thank you.
Jessica.
Thank you.
Jessica. Thank you. Jessica. We are so delighted.
I am so excited to be here.
This is a blessing.
Watching you ladies is a blessing. Watching you in your space with your message, you can tell that you two are both walking so intimately in your calling and what you're doing for people. This really matters. So I'm really excited and I feel blessed to be a part of it.
We're so excited. And Jessica is the producer of Yummy Podcast. Yeah. And so she's usually on that side of the camera.
But we got her,
We reeled her in. So she's sitting here with us. So you know what yummy means, right? Your ultimate, most meaningful yet. What does it mean for Jessica?
Wow. Okay, are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I've had the blessing of sitting on the other side of this camera, so I've heard all of your conversations, and you said it early on and it hit me so deeply. For me, my yummy is I'm not the dishwasher anymore. I had a similar upbringing where my parents were both blue collar workers, and it was like, you have to work 3 times as hard to get half. Yeah. And it was like, that's not enough. Do more, show up more, people please more, and it's not all, it sounds good when we know how to work hard, but it's like, but that comes with insurmountable people pleasing, all of the things. Yes. And I did a therapy a session with an intuitive not too long ago. And she was like, I was talking and she was like, stop. Why do you still think you're the dishwasher?
Ooh.
And I was like,
that's yummy.
And I was like, and she was like, who else needs to be, who are you proving to?
Right.
Everybody sees you. They believe you. You're validated. Yes. Everybody knows. Yeah. There's no one else that needs to validate you but you. You're stuck on being the dishwasher. Come from behind the back and walk out the front door.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. All right,
I have goosebumps. Jessica. I mean, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I literally have goosebumps.
It's me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm the only person that's like, wait a minute, I still got to work harder. I still need to do more.
No, you're not the only one. That was me too.
We've all been in that space. And sometimes you can quickly get back there because every time you're elevated to your next, first of all, God is here. He's back there. He's up in the front. But the thing that is so cool is recognizing He's always in the not yet, preparing for your arrival. The same way He's here, the same way He was there, He's ever present, ever present. So it's kind of like when you know that, what keeps you in the space of still feeling like
the dishwasher.
Like you still need one more person, just one more, which we know is not truth because when that one more shows up, but I just need one more after the one more.
Right.
To say you're good.
Right. Let me keep being humble. Let me keep being quiet. Let me keep working hard. Let me do this the hard, slow, tiring, dragging way so that people can be like, oh, you did it the right way. Like, who are you proving this to? People still believe, like, it's done. The work is done. You're validated.
Yeah.
You have proof. There's nothing left.
But Jessica, where does that come from? Like, you've heard us talk about the roles we play as a child to get affirmation from our circle of influence, the people that love us and care for us, or just care for us or take care of us, right? We play the role of the brilliant one, the caretaker, the sickly one, or the destructive one, right? Where did it come from for you? Who were you as a child? And how did you learn to be the dishwasher?
So I think one of you said it early on. I think I started out as the caretaker and then I transitioned into the brilliant one. And the caretaker was... and I've had to talk about this on a lot of podcast episodes because I've done a lot of EMDR, therapy, hypnosis. I have done it all and had to go back to those things. And it's so important that you do. I know everyone's like, don't look in the rearview mirror. No, stop. Go look back. You have to. Right. You absolutely have to understand the life, the lens in which you live your life through is not necessarily you. You guys talk about removing the mask. You have a lens that you live your life through that is based on your previous trauma. And if you don't go back and address that, it will come from the bottom of your feet and meet you in the mirror every day.
You better preach.
So you have to go back.
Yeah.
And one of the things I learned was I was the caretaker because my father was an alcoholic. So every day it was go get your dad off the couch, go take him to the bedroom when I was little. So I'd let him put his hands on my shoulders and I'd walk him down the hallway to bed and tell him goodnight and tuck him in because he would drink
as
himself.
As a child, you were the adult.
Right. I was correct. And they were still good parents. That's the craziest part. And another part of your grief, people don't talk about this part, is like, you have to find grace and that your parents did the best that they could.
Yes. And that they were human.
They were human.
Having a human experience.
Correct.
And loving you from their own limiting beliefs, their own self-sabotage. They're doing the best. They only know what they know. They don't know what they don't know.
When I learned what my father had been through as a child, I was like, you know what? You did damn good.
Yeah.
You did good. Like when I found out how he lost his mom at 17 and all that, I was like, oh, you did the best you could. Like you actually, like I can celebrate you for what you did. You did what you could with what you had.
And I can still call my pain and not denounce you as a parent.
Yeah.
And not abandon my love for you as a parent. Calling my pain and being clear-headed enough to say, oh, my foot hurts. Let me go figure out how to shift this so that I don't bequeath, big word, and give you an inheritance of something that they didn't want to give me.
I always know when people are talking as they start going through this journey and they'll say like, well, I tried telling my mom or my dad, what they did and they don't understand and they don't hear me. And I'm like, you have so much more left to do.
Yeah.
Because trying to, inform them and get them to apologize is not the mission and not the journey. You're stuck. That means you're stuck in the middle of this processing right now. The other side is being able to look at them and be like, wow, I understand. I get it. I have perspective now. The journey of healing around your parents is perspective and understanding. It's surrendering to, I understand what happened to me. I understand who I am and why I am who I am now. And I thank you for this journey. And I can look at y'all and have so much grace. If you're looking for an apology, you've already gone up the wrong street.
Man, you know what did that for me? That perspective. What gave me that perspective is being a mother and a mother of adults.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Oh, girl, it's another
Mine
experience.
talk back, I can.
No. So when they're little, you know, it's do as I say, not as I do, right? And then when they become adults, there's a shift that has to take place where you see them as these are grown people, right? And you have that exchange. And for me, it was a transformation of, okay, so how do I mother these adults, right? They're not my little kids anymore. And explaining and sharing to them, because I thought I should have got an award for parenting.
Right.
Okay.
Mother of the year.
I was mother of the year. I did everything that I wish my mom and dad would have done for me, right? I gave them more than what was given to me. So I tried to give the best of what my parents gave me, plus multiply it.
Yeah.
However, my experience and their experience was different. And it's not about my experience. It's about their experience, and talking to them from one adult to another adult and saying, I did the best that I could with what I had, right? I had no intention to harm you. My intention was always to love you, provide the best, but some of the decisions I made as a woman,
Right.
trying to care for my own needs, in relationships. Some of the decisions I made as a woman trying to grow in corporate America, in business, and the priorities that I may have made that did not always prioritize my children.
That.
Right? That hard worker mentality that said, I've got to be there till 10 o'clock at night when I came in at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Hold on. Listen, one time a year and a half ago, I was at a conference in Mexico. I had paid all this money to go to a big, massive conference, and I'm sitting in the audience and they do this meditation, and I'm in the meditation and I'm like, God, what's my next offer? Like, what's my next thing? Like this, like the podcast stuff is there, but it's not taking off yet. Like, I'm not making enough money. Like, I'm not talking enough. Like, how should I be talking? How should I be showing up? What's the next offer? And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I got 30 minutes. I know I can come up with something. That's why I'm here. I am intentional about this outcome. I'm in this meditation. I'm like, God, I've given you my intentions. Tell me the thing. And I'll be damned. This is what I heard. Clear as day. Don't you go looking for another single stranger to help until you use these resources to help your son.
Ooh.
And I was like, ooh. Oh.
That's yummy.
That's
got
yummy.
it. I was like, I'm literally looking for more time to sacrifice, to help someone else I don't know, when God gave me this human. And I'm like, next month, next week, mommy's got to go to this thing. Not right now. Oh, you're too young to understand. Like, I heard like, no, go pour your resources into your child and I will give you the resources you need to do the things that you're trying to do, but you're focused on the wrong thing. And I was like, okay.
And that's so powerful and yummy, because we as parents, you're trying to do the best, and you're doing what you're doing so that you can provide for them, so you can give them the world, so that they can have opportunities, but we miss the present, which is the real gift, the present.
They don't care about nothing else.
They don't care. Listen,
But let's be fair, right? When you're a kid, you recognize the drama, but you don't recognize the trauma.
Oh, yes.
There's a difference.
Yes.
You see how your consistency is shifted. You see where the security feels like it's been breached.
Yeah.
You see who's in the room, who's not in the room, who shifts the dynamic of the room. You see all of that. So the drama of the scene is being played out for you. But as a kid, you don't know what you're ingesting.
Listen.
You don't know what the trauma, you don't know the trauma that's coming in. You're just watching it all play out.
Unfold.
Yeah.
So sis, as you're talking about a free mindset, you know it's opportunity for swag.
Swag.
Yummy
check.
swag. Our shirts today say free women.
Free women.
You get it?
Free women. Free women.
I'm just putting that out there. Carry on. Continue.
You can get your free women t-shirt at crystalanddrnicole.com, or you can check the show notes below to find the link.
Listen. In 2021, I went through a separation from my son's father. 7-year relationship. Thought we were engaged, all the things. And I'm navigating this for 10 months, thinking I am doing the work. I'm going to therapy. I'm muddling through. I'm also keeping the peace. So I'm doing an incredible job at publicly showing up, AKA I'm suppressing incredibly well.
Oh,
right?
say that.
Good job, Jessica.
Go me. I am being I am hurt,
override.
but I am being kind to everyone, damn it. So I am being very kind. I am playing public figure wearing a mask in front of everyone, and I'm doing a damn good job. And one day, my 3-year-old, he's 3, going through all of this, and I'm thinking he doesn't know much. We're keeping it from him. I'm keeping it from him. I'm not showing him my emotions. I'm not breaking down. I'm not crying. I'm not falling apart in front of him because he's 3 and he doesn't need to see this, right? That's what we say. So I pull up to daycare one morning and I unbuckle the seatbelt and I'm on the phone and I literally unbuckle the seatbelt and he jumps out and jets into the middle of a highway. And I throw the phone down. I run out in the highway. I snatch him up. Thank God. I grab him. I throw him up against the wall and I'm crying and I'm like, why would you do that? And he just starts screaming and crying. And he's like, Mommy, I'm so angry. I'm so angry. I don't know I'm angry. So I calm him down.
3.
I calm him down. I take him into daycare. It's a whole hour thing. I get back in the car. I bust out crying. And I'm like, that logical brain gets to working. So I call my therapist and I'm like, okay, here's how the morning went. Here's the breakdown. Before that, here's what happened the night before. Here's what he ate for dinner. And she's just quiet listening. And she's like, she kind of giggles. She's like, so you think this is something that happened this morning? And I'm like, am I enabling him? Like, what did I do? She goes, with all that you're going through, you don't wish you could just be really angry, scream, and run away? And I was like, yeah, I would. She was like, I know you're everything that you're holding on to and suppressing, your son can feel that.
Yeah.
And it's transferring.
It's transferring.
That energy
Because
is transferable.
Transferable.
She said, so you're not dealing with it and you think you're doing him a favor, but he is dealing with it. So you're going to have to actually deal with it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I was like, shit.
Man.
So,
oops, upside the head.
right.
I'm thinking I'm doing him a favor by hiding all of this.
And he's seeing it
and
all.
dealing with it in silence. He's feeling it. It's like the joke. Dogs are like kids. They know everybody. They're so intuitive. We take that away from them.
Yeah.
He knew what I was going through. He could feel what I was going through. He was experiencing what I was going through without me even being willing to show it. And so these things are unavoidable. They will meet you in the mirror if you do not work with them.
You know, one of the things that is so yummy, when you're doing your work and you are moving in this space of, I don't just want what's good. I don't just want what's okay. I don't want what somebody else has. I want my yummy. I want my ultimate, most meaningful yet. It's when you figure out the thing that you've been fearing forever is blessing you. That thing that says, you can feel that. You can feel. We spend so much time trying not to feel.
Yeah.
our parents, in so many ways, we love them. They have this job often. I don't want you to feel pain. I don't want you to feel disappointment.
Suck it up.
I don't want, right? And
Stop crying.
and it's like
just whooped me.
a continuum, right? It's like this crazy continuum. On one side, they don't want you to feel any of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Then on the other side, they're like, you can't feel. But if you can't feel, you're not human.
Yeah, you're not living.
It's such an oxymoron. So when you recognize, oh, wait a minute, hold up, I felt that. It's like, oh, I felt that. I can feel that, which now means I'm getting a new lexicon. I'm getting a new language. I'm getting a new piece of information that a whole bunch of people have tried to protect me from. But until I can feel, I can't really live this experience called my yummy. I can't do it numb. I can't do it avoidant. I can't do it not present. I can't do it not authentic.
Yeah.
I gotta be able to tap in and say, damn, that hurts.
Yeah.
What now?
And the powerful thing about his reaction is at 3, he didn't have all the layers you have, right? He didn't know how to press the override button. It was just
my out of control emotions presented to me through him, my mirror.
It just presented
everything that you're trying to control.
Yeah.
Here's a human that can't control or regulate their emotions. So they're just boom. You get to see everything front row and center.
But to be able to process it like a 3-year-old.
Tell me without telling me you've never had a tantrum.
Right.
Because I know I've had a 5-year-old tantrum. I know it. I'm like, who is this showing up right now? Why am I acting like a child? Oh, and that's those are some things I processed through EMDR.
And the thing is, the fact that you're able to process that, do your work, call your therapist, right? Feel what you feel, recognize what he's feeling, and be able to meet him where he is a blessing. Because if you don't deal with it at 3, you'll deal with it at 30 in a 30-year-old body with a 3-year-old mind. And it's something that, like I said, as a mother learning to parent adults, it's like, wow, when they give me a scenario that I saw one way,
they saw it completely different.
It's like, wow. And it really made me appreciate my mother's experience, right? Because my mom had a very hard upbringing. In the segregated South. Her parents weren't together. Her father remarried, kept the children from the first marriage. And then the children from the second marriage, they loved and adored. But my mother and her siblings were the ones that had to take care of the children from the second marriage. And so she was the youngest of the children from the first marriage. So she got it all, because as the older ones got grown, they left. So she got it all. So she had a very hard upbringing, and she wasn't loved well. And so she loved me with everything she had, but it wasn't enough sometimes. You know what I mean? I didn't always feel that she saw me. And when I talk to my children and I look at my children, part of my work is to realize that even though I did the best I could, it may have not been enough. And there's still work that has to be done. And people who are really trying to live this yummy life realize we never stop learning. We never stop, we never stop learning. At 52, I'm learning new things that I didn't know when they were little kids. You know what I mean?
But you know what's cool though? I think about when it's not enough for the container, but the provider gave all that they had. So I love mini soda, the little can. And I think about, because I always feel like, it's little, so I can finish the whole thing. I won't leave it somewhere. But that analogy is coming to me of being a parent who has a big container child. That child who is gifted, that child who's inquisitive. They're just a wonderful expansion of who you are. And all you've got, like you got a full mini container of soda. And the more you try to pour everything in that container into the next container, which is your child, they're a 12-ounce bottle. You may only have 6 or 4 ounces.
Yes.
You're pouring everything, but they're just legitimately a bigger container.
But the powerful thing is recognizing on both parts, right? Like now I see it as a daughter and I see it as a mother, right? And I can see the difference. So I'm like, oh, now I recognize my mom only had 8 ounces and I'm a 12 ounce and my kids are 16 ounces. That's the beauty of generational legacy. That's the beauty of it. And understanding and having the ability to receive that, Mom, I'm still missing 4 ounces. And you're like, instead of taking that and being, judgmental or defensive or, feeling like it's critique, saying, wow, I know that I gave all 12 ounces that I had. I know that I did. So God, where's the other 4?
Oh, I just had an epiphany though.
What? Come on, Holy Spirit. Come on.
Okay. There's supposed to be a deficit. Because if you can fill them all the way to the brim, what's left for God to do? What's left? So as adult children, we're saying, you didn't give me enough. It's not to let anybody off the hook. It's not to let anybody off the hook. But when you're a bigger vessel, because of the generational blessing that has come forth, even if I give you everything, you are supposed to be at a deficit because I'm not your source.
Yes.
I'm still your resource.
Even as a mother.
Even as a mother. Even as a father. Even as a grandparent.
Yes.
If I give you everything, you still supposed to come up short.
Right, because you got to have your own relationship with the source.
Own relationship.
Yes.
You got to be able to
I can't do it for you.
And say, now listen.
If I give you everything, you have no space.
You have no space.
And so you're like, this is all for my kid. I got 10 ounces. They're getting 10 ounces. They're going to be strategically a 12-ounce vessel.
Yes.
Strategically. You're not going to be able to give them enough.
If you're a high-achieving woman and you're listening to this, people around you probably think you have everything you need or desire.
But Crystal and I both know you've realized there's more, and you've been called to more. We base our programs and framework around helping women like you find their limitless selves, providing a space, a safe space for them to break through ceilings and remove the walls that limit experiencing the life they truly desire.
Join us for our Woman Unlimited Live. Check out the link below. You'll find coaching, community, and connection you've been looking for. See you there.
Now back to this yummy episode.
It's so powerful that we're having this conversation because there are people, right, stuck in my parents didn't give me enough.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough, and they're stuck in that trauma. Like you say, your father was an alcoholic, so was mine. We can be stuck in that trauma and not being able to forgive and not being able to grow and not being able to move on, or we can do the work. And you have clearly done the work, right? All of the different things you listed, you're going to therapy and you're doing MDR and all those things, is doing our work. And those things have all brought you closer to the source.
Absolutely.
It's all been, listen, Romans 8:28. And we know all things work together for the good of those who serve the Lord and are called according to his purpose. But it goes on to say, and those who are called are fortified and they are justified. It's a process.
Yes.
It's a process. So I love that you said that, right? We can't give them everything. And when we try to give them everything, we create monsters sometimes.
Yeah. I was like, this sounds like an enabled child to me. Like, no, he needs space. And it's on a child level, to me, it's the equivalent of like, I stopped trying to solve things for him. I've already seen it where like, he's very sensitive. And so I give him the space to process. And I'm like, and the difference of like me saying, why are you crying? Or what is going on? Or saying things like stuff I got from my parents, like, well, you're not hurt and you're not bleeding. Why are you crying? Versus me coming in there and saying, what do you feel right now?
Use your words.
And he says, I'm angry and I'm mad and I'm sad. And I say, okay, well, you're allowed to feel that way. And I'm going to sit here with you. And if you need me, let me know. And I want you to have the space to figure out, how am I going to regulate this? And then I'll let him sit there for a minute. I'm like, do you need a hug? Do you want a hug? No. And then he'll go around and kind of figure out his ways. And then he comes back around. I need to give him the space to figure that out on his own. And it's the same thing. You've got to give them space to have another source. To use their resources. Like, I can't be everything to him. We can't be everything to anyone. There's no one but one who is everything to everyone. It's not us.
But the ability to have compassion, sometimes it's interesting that we let other people dictate how much compassion we deserve. Whether that's your children, whether that's your parents, because a lot of people struggle with conversations with their parents when they're an adult. They're no longer a child. They're that person's child, but they're no longer a child. So the two sides of the coin become challenging. One is being able to acknowledge your adult child's experience, because often where you are and having done the work, they were not there. They didn't have the tools. So now you've got this 40-year-old adult or this 50-year-old adult that is saying, when you talk to me like that, here's what it produces. Here's how I feel. Here's how I receive it. And they're like, I've been talking that way for 40 years. And you never said anything.
I've been telling you to shut up.
I've been telling you to shut up for 40 years. You never said anything. But now that awakening, that yummy is coming forward where they're like, that's not God's best for me. I can love you and share with you that my feelings are not being honored by this type of conversation. But then being able to say, and if that's all they can offer me as my parent in this moment, I still got to do my work to fill this vessel. God, me and you got to fill this deficit.
That's what I learned. The most valuable thing I learned is it was like I started playing this game with myself. Any ugly trigger is a beautiful invitation.
Ooh.
And so
say that one more time.
That's good.
For the viewers and the listeners.
Any ugly trigger is a beautiful invitation. Your invitations to change and transform come in really ugly packages. And so it's like anytime I was triggered by anything related to my parents or my child, I would stop what I was doing and I'm like, I would either call my therapist or my intuitive, or I would just journal it out. And I'm like, what in me feels so childlike right now? And what is coming up? What am I screaming for? And then in this, because we go to victimization and blame and all of these things, and this comes later in the work, but what do I need? How can I take radical self-responsibility in this moment and figure out, what does this child in me need? What do I need in this moment? What am I craving? What am I bound by right now? Something that, feeling like I can't use my voice, feeling like I'm being spoken down to, feeling like I'm unworthy. When you figure out let me tell you something, when you figure out what your negative cognition is, it will mess up your whole life. There's a story that every single one of us have told, and it is literally like a before and after moment in your life. And some people have several, some people have one. And when I found out what mine was, when that woman said that phrase to me, I can still, not anymore, but for a year straight, if someone said that phrase to me, I would drop down crying immediately. Wow. When she made me realize that my negative cognition was, I don't matter. Ooh. I was like, I have moved in that in everything in my life and everything that I have ever done. I've been trying to prove to folks, strangers, people on the internet, my parents, my child, my partners, that I do matter. When the reality is I don't think I matter. Right. So how do I take radical self-responsibility and figuring out every time I have a tantrum, what am I trying to prove? And how can I reassure and bring light back into myself that I do indeed matter? Oh, yeah. How? And what are those steps? And what does this look like? My journey for the last 2 years is, how do you realize and validate to yourself on the daily that you in fact do matter, so that no one can put you in question? Not your parents, not your kid, not your partner, not whomever. No one can make you question your worth, which was all rooted in I don't matter, which came from something when I was 5 years old. And for anybody listening, a hypnotist explained this to me one time, because there are so many people I do episodes like this all the time, and people come and they're like, I'm done with the past. I'm not pressed about something that happened to me when I was 3 years old. The best way I can explain this to someone is the way she explained it to me. She said, everyone thinks the past is the past. She was like, who's your first boyfriend? And I was like, first? She's like, yes, I don't know, some boy said his name. I was 5.
In the coat closet.
I was in kindergarten. She was like, oh, what happened? I said, well, we kissed under the table and it was a couple weeks. And she was like, we were both laughing. She's like, well, why are you laughing? And I was like, I don't know, because it's funny. And she's like, well, why are y'all not together anymore? I said, well, because we're not together anymore. Like, I was 5. And she's like, well, why aren't you hurt? And I said, well, he had another girlfriend and more girlfriends. He's married now. I know him on Facebook. And she's like, well, why doesn't that hurt you? And I said, I don't know. And she's like, because you have forgiven him, because you have empathized, because you understand, and because your mind has said, I can take radical responsibility, and he wasn't the one. He's not for me, and it's okay. Yeah. She said, and you were 5, 6? And I said, yeah. And she's like, well, how old were you when this happened between your mom and your dad? And I was like, 4. And she's like, so how come when I bring this up, every time we talk about this, you cry? And I was like, and she said, because the moment that happened, the fear that you were sitting in out of survival, you suppressed that emotion to survive in that moment. Wow. And so unlike the memory with your first boyfriend, who you have been able to remove, it's not about time. It's about how you process the unregulated emotion. Right. And so the fear still lives in your body. You still operate in that emotion. You live your life through a lens that literally thinks you don't matter because of that moment, because you said, I'm either going to fight or flight. Yeah. And so in survival, you push that emotion down and it still lives inside of your body. Wow. I'm telling you, if you don't figure out how to let those things come to the surface, and I've done therapy with multiple mastermind groups for women, and they always say, I want to do the work, but when I start, it feels like there's a dark cloud over me. Yeah. I got to tell you, that shit is inevitable. Yeah. It is inevitable. You have to be willing to, like you said, let this stuff bubble up and surface. Yeah. See it, read it, rip it up, shred it, rewrite it. And in that process, it's going to have to sit passenger.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to put it in a seatbelt
Yep.
and be like, you can ride, but you can't drive.
Yeah.
But here's what's so yummy about everything that you're saying. We really, as human beings, think that we're really repressing things and we've got it under control and we're not being affected. But there are so many signs of our past that show up in our present on a regular basis, saying, I will not be ignored.
I will not be put in the child seat.
Right? You are
I'm driving.
not going to act like I don't exist. So when you are in that state where you're in a marriage and you shut down every time something feels like an attack, it doesn't have to be an attack. It could have just been good morning, but it felt like an attack. That's your past being fully in your present and conning you into thinking that you're able to be passive, because we don't believe in passivity. It's an illusion.
Yeah.
Everything that you're not doing is doing something about what you don't want to do something about.
Correct.
Period. So you might as well at some point be able to say, the first girl that I loved, she left me because she was like, you don't have any feelings, you don't have any compassion, you always abandon me. Whenever we have a conversation, you leave. Then the second girl that you were dating, because you villainized her, and now you're with the second girl and you're like, I don't really like her that much, but, she's cute, let's rock with it. Now you're in your late 20s. And she has a similar complaint, but it shows up in some different kind of words. She says things like, you don't talk to me. You don't ever talk to me. Her language is a little different from the first girl, but it's the same message. Now you're with your wife and she's like, you shut me out. And if your only conclusion is, this is just what it is, you have played your soul small. Because what it is what you make it. That's what it is. When people say it is what it is, it grinds my last nerve, because I'm like, it ain't just it is what it is. It is, you are co-creating what is.
And even when you think you're not making a decision, you're making a decision.
Who are you and what are you right now that is allowing you to attract all the things that you don't like? It is always and forever on you.
Yeah.
Like, I was in a breathwork session the other day. I was in a breathwork session the other day, and it's funny, breathwork will take you somewhere that you didn't think you were going. I'm in a breathwork session the other day, and all of a sudden I see blue water, and I'm like, what is this blue water? Why are we at the beach? And then I'm like, oh, this is the wedding I was supposed to have. I see everything I picked out. I see the chairs, I see the guests, and I'm like, oh, I'd never grieved this. And then I immediately then I go right into this place where I hear myself, this very sarcastic voice. When I'm in meditations and breathwork, I am very sarcastic. So I hear my voice say to me, well, you did it, friend. You did it. You are tough as nails. Nobody can hurt you. But because of that, no one can love you.
Oh, yeah.
So how does that feel?
Yeah.
How's that working out for you? And I'm like, and then I'm talking to my therapist and she's like, don't you come at me with all these men that you've attracted lately that are non-committal that you're chasing.
Ooh.
You don't want love right now. You are too scared of it. And I'm like, so I've got nothing to victimize. There is no victimization in this. The question always begins with, who are you and what are you right now? And what mentality and story are you living in that is allowing you to attract everything, whether it be money, business, partners, friendships, network, community, all the things that are allowing you to attract the things that you don't want.
Ooh.
Why?
That's so yummy.
And sis, the yummy of being able to say, we have a shirt that says, I am the guarantee. I am the guarantee. None of our stuff is ego. It means something. Because when you recognize you are the earthly solution that you've been looking for.
It's all.
You've been looking for it everywhere. You've purchased solutions. You got so much false solution to meet real needs that you can write a book.
That's the truth.
You're like, the false solutions that I've sought after, paid for to meet a real need, and it did not meet the need. Oh my God. I'm what I've been looking for the whole time.
And in that guarantee, because you've done a lot of self-work, right? And sometimes we see people in our business that they'll make the investment of money, but not
themselves.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? So it's like, I'll get a therapist, I'll get a coach, and then they like, all right, fix it.
Fix it.
No.
This is not
We're
a service-based business.
This is not you have to do the work. Money is not going to fix it.
Correct.
You have to show up for you.
Right.
That's when the change happens.
And the nerve. Can we talk about something?
Yes.
The nerve. You've been struggling for 36 years and you want to come in a 50-minute session
And throw it in our lap.
throw it in my lap.
And be like, now sort that out. And give it back to me in a pretty bow wrapped up.
In a box.
And then the nerve for you to go and say to someone else who also needs support, oh, I did coaching. It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
With your 2-session self.
Right. Right, with your
session self.
Well, people
I did therapy.
People pay for business outcomes when they need therapy.
Yeah.
People,
Baby, could you say that
One more
Let me say it
time.
differently. Baby, can you say that one more time?
people pay ridiculous amounts of money looking for business solutions when they need therapy.
Yeah. You need
Yes.
you need the opportunity.
When the problem comes out, I'm like, oh, so you need therapy.
Right. You don't want the business solution.
don't
You
need-
really want therapy.
You want therapy. Because
You
what
want-
you said cannot be fixed with a couple dollars.
Right.
It is a mirror.
Yeah.
You got some things to handle.
trunk full of bricks. Back tires on the ground.
But wait a minute.
Front end of the car.
But wait a minute.
Like this.
But wait a minute. I don't have time. I need to make more money.
Yeah.
I need things to work first.
Yes.
When the people don't realize what I didn't realize, is healed is not healed with an ED. If you're looking for an outcome on your journey, you've done it all wrong. It's simply about surrender.
Oh my.
Over and over and over
Over
again.
my.
Because I do the work and I have the audacity every time. Let me tell you, any place that I'm speaking from is never that I'm like, I have done it, I am here, and I have arrived. Bullshit. Sorry, I cuss in the same sentence. Bullshit. I literally do the work. 5 months, I'm like, I'm great. I'm floating. I feel good. I know who I am. I'm there. And then boom, landmine. And I'm like, wait a minute. What happened? And then it's like, take your butt back.
Yeah.
Because it's not that you're going back and forth. It's not that you are regressing. It's that there are new landmines, new curves,
Yes.
new things. And each one of these ugly triggers is an invitation for you to evolve more.
Yeah.
And people don't see it that way. They're like, but I already did the work. I already did the thing. I already went to the thing. Isn't this journey about evolution?
Yeah.
But you don't, let me tell you, you don't have to see it. You don't have to see it. Life is going to show you better than anybody can tell you.
Oh.
The lessons that it has for you until you complete that assignment.
Gotta keep going.
Get ready for the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And I love merry-go-rounds, actually. I think they're just cool little rides because they're metaphoric.
I think God likes me on them too.
But after a while, right? You gotta recognize you seeing the same thing
Wait,
every time.
this was my favorite merry-go-round recently. I realized I was on a merry-go-round. I was like, God, thank you. I would like to get off now.
Yeah.
Because this is the best part. People think, well, that's only happened in my business. And then they're like, well, no, it's only happening in my personal life. And once I fix it, no, it's transferable.
Oh, yeah.
Baby, it's transferable.
Oh,
yes.
My most recent one was like in business. And I was like I realized like you can't, you can't get here or what was it? Oh, everything that you've done to get here will become a liability at scale.
Oh,
So it was like the hustle that got you here is now a liability.
Yeah.
You're trying to hustle and grind and do things the way
By
that you
yourself,
by
instead
yourself
of
the way
bringing
that
down
you
a team.
did.
That's right.
And you're like, why am I running into so many problems? Why is it so hard? Because you can't get there doing this. It got you here. You stop here.
You've gotta
you get
evolve.
off, and now you've got to evolve. And then I'm like, well, that's my business problem because I got a money mindset problem. Blah, blah, blah. Then I go over to my personal life, and I'm on this merry-go-round, and I'm like, oh shit, I was doing this when I was 16, which is like, you can't live the way that God has your life set up. You can't live one way by day and another by night and expect substantial results.
Woo. Right.
You can't go do X, Y, and Z. And God was like, I already showed you your purpose 3 times. Matter of fact, I feel like I keep pulling you by the back of the shirt and turning you out of the corner. And I'm like, go that way.
Right.
And here you go doing weird stuff with people that you ain't got no business doing. You giving access to folks, and I said you go that way.
And what did God go? Go ahead. Go ahead, Jessica.
Yes.
Right.
I'll be here when you finish.
Do
it.
you. And it's cheap.
I'm gonna stay
The
right
ride is
here.
cheap. You can ride it as many times as you want.
Go ahead. You got a black card for the merry-go-round.
Correct. But you just gonna keep flopping back and forth in your business and your personal life, or for some reason, and then I go to a therapist or a friend or something. I have the audacity to be like, well, I'm just stuck. Duh. Well, of course you're stuck.
Well,
you're on a damn merry-go-round.
Well, we challenge that and we raise you big bank, beat little bank. Okay? We challenge you because you cannot claim stuck unless you have evidence of movement.
Oof.
So what we do, because we think we can outsmart any and everybody, including ourselves. We say, I'm just stuck. And folk like Crystal and I say, okay, we stuck? Yeah, we stuck. Okay, we stuck. When was the last time you tried to move? And it's like deer in the headlights most of the time because people then just look and they're like, huh? Ask me again. And the question then is, what is your evidence?
Not in a circle.
Movement that failed you.
Right.
What is your evidence? I tried this, I tried this, I tried this, I tried this. It still ended me up here. What is your evidence of that? And they're like, I don't have that. Okay, so you're not stuck, my love. You're refusing to move.
You just reliving the chaos.
That's it.
I think that is a great place to leave our listeners and our viewers with a question. Are you stuck or refusing to move?
That part.
Bye-bye. Thank you.